There you are.
There we are.
Done deal.
Let me switch this around so you can see. Okay. Can you see the solar cooker?
Yes, yes, I can see the table, the box. Yep.
All right, that looks familiar.
Yes.
Okay, let me walk you through what you got there. You got one of these.
Yes.
This has instructions and recipes, and
Mhm.
and you've got two reflectors in your box. You just pull out one of the reflectors,
Yes.
and it's been sitting for a while, so you just have to get on reverse for a minute or two while you get the rest of the components out. Which are inside this container.
Mhm.
You'll see two lids and something that looks like that.
Yep.
Now, everything that's in here is multi-use. So this is the cooking vessel. And you'll notice it's got a coating on it.
Mhm.
This coating has been heated into the glass at 1600 degrees.
Sure.
And we use tanning jars because they're tempered glass for temperature. And I like them because it's got the gradations on the side here. And you can use that for measuring quantities and so forth.
Mhm.
Now, let's go to the little container that has these things in it.
Yeah.
This is an oven bag. I won't open one up, but you can.
Sure.
Because this is a box ready for shipment. But you just peel that tab off. You put your food in here that you want to cook, and it can be raw, but it works exceptionally well with dried food.
Yep.
So you just put in the mixture it calls for with water, and one of these quarts will probably feed up to 4 people. So assuming you got your food in here now, you can just put this lid on, and you just turn the lid finger tight, just so it's just slightly snug.
Sure.
And you do that because this is going to get real hot real fast. And you want the steam to go out as it cooks. And for dried food, you'll be able to cook them in probably about 15, 20 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's a quick process for cooking dried food and rehydrating it. I'll show you how this all works. I'll use the bag that came with it to show you what happens with this. Assuming this is what this little packet is,
Sure.
just without opening one. You put the bag, the jar in a bag. And you blow a little puff of air in it. So it has some breathing room around it. You take one of the little ties, you put it around the top, and you just twist it to keep the air in it. So what's going to happen is the steam is going to fill up this bag. And you'll see condensation running down inside there. That just tells you that it's reached its boiling point, and your meal's about finished. Okay. And then the next thing you do after you've got your food and the bag sold, you put the lid on one of these cups. And this elevates the jar in your container here, see?
Okay.
Put that in the center of the cup. You put the jar on there like that. And that cup elevates this jar to the exact height it needs to be in order for it to maximize the solar rays.
Sure.
Okay, now let's assemble the reflector. Well, I'm gonna flip it over so the kind of reverse it against the curl. You know what I mean? It's curling up one way. It's been sitting for a while, so it has a memory. It curls up this way. So I'm flipping it over.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And curling it the other way when I assemble it. That way it'll be a little bit more rigid. This Mylar is a special Mylar that we had made also. And it's the least memory Mylar that you can buy.
Okay.
But
Sure.
it still has a memory. Okay, now this will make it stand a little better. Okay, so yours look kind of like mine?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now what you can do is take the jar and the cup out and sit this cone, the reflector, in the pot. You'll notice when it's in the pot that it sits about a half an inch off the bottom.
Sure.
That's so you can rotate it however you want to follow the sun.
Okay.
Like right now it's winter time, so we have to rotate it because the sun is so far south. So we rotate it towards the south like that, see?
Sure.
Okay, and then you put the cup in, and then you put the jar on top of that. Now, when you look in there, you notice there's a black ring all the way around the reflector. So from the very bottom, clear down here, to where the lid is, clear up here, and 360 degrees, the jar is being heated from bottom to top all the same time.
Sure.
And there's no other solar cooker that cooks evenly all the way around 360 degrees. So if you have to adjust for the elevation of the sun, that's all you have to do is just tilt it, and there you are.
Okay.
Now, what's neat about this solar cooker is it'll pasteurize water in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get to 165 degrees for 7 minutes, and it's pasteurized.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a problem, I can remember there was a hurricane that went through Louisiana area and flooded, levees broke and everything else, and people were sitting on the roof thirsting to death. Well, if they had a little solar cooker, they could simply scoop up some water and pasteurize it, and they'd have something to drink. But that's the problem. That's getting pure water if the disaster happens and whatever happens. And the real advantage that this has, it'll pasteurize water so quickly, and it works so well. We've had a number of people that talk to us about including these units with dried food because it works so well with dry food. I demonstrated it one time for a company, and they produce high quality dried food. And they wanted me to cook some of their food for them or to demonstrate it. So I said, well, we'll just cook some of your food. So they gave me some of their food off the back shelf that's been sitting there for years or whatever, or maybe it was a sample that they discontinued or whatever.
Sure.
And they gave me some of that to cook. And I cooked 2 or 3 different items for them. And the president of the company was there, and he said, is this our food? He couldn't believe it was his own food. What happens when this cooks, this jar becomes a little pressure cooker. That's another reason why it cooks so fast, is because when you just lightly tighten the lid, the pressure builds up and it cooks like a pressure cooker. That's another reason why it cooks so fast. And it seals in all the flavors and everything else. And all you have to do is just periodically shake it like this to make sure everything's mixed properly, and just sit there. And 20 minutes later, you got your rehydrated food is ready to eat. So that's for dried food, and that's what everybody stores almost these days is dried food. There isn't a better way to cook it. And then when you see the steam in the jar, that tells you that it's reached temperature, and you can take it out of there. But in reality, it doesn't burn the food. It just makes it more tender, more. If you're cooking roast or beef stew, for example, from scratch,
sure,
you could leave it in there all day long. The sun passes over and gradually moves beyond the scope. But this is designed to cook most anything in about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Some foods, you might need to adjust it for another 20 minutes or whatever, but it's designed to cook in an hour. So you adjust this toward the sun and aim it to where it's going to be in an hour and go off and leave it. You don't have to turn it constantly or readjust it, go back out. We had a box cooker, solar cooker, a nice unit, but you were always going out there and following the sun, adjusting it to follow the sun. And so this, you don't have to worry about it. It won't overcook. It just becomes more tender and more flavorful. So you can leave it in there all day long. And the beauty of this is once the food is cooked and after it's reached temperature, the lid seals and this becomes a canned item. So you can eat it later that day or next week if you want to.
Sure.
Plus, it's small enough you can put it in the backpack and carry it wherever you're going.
Sure. Well, I have just three questions that I usually ask when I do these videos because it's always fascinating to hear the background of things. And so the first question always is, how did you get introduced to solar energy in any way, shape, or form, and then on to solar cooking to get to the point of developing this product?
Well, my son-in-law was attending BYU, Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And he called me up one day and said he read an article by a physics professor who designed this, actually. And we got the rights to market it, but he wanted to create something that would be inexpensive, easy to use, and very productive. So he's the one that designed this reflector to generate the angles and the temperatures and everything that it is today. All we did was take his design, streamline it just a little bit to make it more producible. He did not have any concept on how to make the jar a permanent situation with this coating that we put on here. He just suggested spraying it with paint each time you used it or smearing mud on it. So we did some refinements, put things together, and it for those that are interested in solar cooking, this is by far the best ones that we've ever seen. And that's why we got the rights, because we saw some potential with it. And so my son-in-law and my daughter and I just started putting things together and putting it out on the market. Have you seen the website at all?
Yes, in fact, that's what I was going to ask you is what is the current website so we can post it below the video?
It's I think it's still up. It's on YouTube. It's mysolarcooker.com. And there's hundreds of recipes. My daughter is a dietetics specialist, graduating in dietetics. And she created wonderful, healthy recipes that can be cooked from scratch. But most people will just use this as an emergency item to prepare their dried food.
And if they go to YouTube, people can still order it and buy it through you.
Um, I think it's probably the easiest way would be to contact me
Hmm.
through my phone number or the same email address, gbe801.
Okay, sure. We can put that in the under the video as well. Well, and so
Yeah.
currently you must have enough in inventory. When I checked in with Emily, it was no trouble to get three sets of two each in a box, and that's wonderful. They all arrived, and I actually have a couple of friends that are interested in them. So that's the current situation. Then we'll make sure they get to my solar cooker channel on YouTube. So the future, it sounds like, so you're able to keep this stocked up and people can order through you. Do you have any other plans for solar cooking or solar energy, or is this just pretty much for sale right now, or are you promoting it in, say, an overseas for countries where they're deforesting and they have bad drinking water and all that?
Well, I'm, as you saw, an old fart, and probably beyond the years to promote this much. And my daughter and son have taken and have other interests right now too. But uh, I don't know if someone would be interested in buying the company. I imagine that's available, but um, we do have a limited inventory left, and happy to talk with you about what we've got left to market.
And this is great. I'm so glad you took the time to talk with me online here and tell the story. If I may ask, the professor that you said at BYU that put together the design, can you say who that is, or um,
I can't remember his full name, but his last name was Jones.
oh, okay, was it Stephen Jones? I think there was a Stephen Jones that I saw pop up at BYU
Yeah,
connected with solar
I
cooking,
think
but I
that
wasn't
was
able
it.
to.
And
Yeah.
he put his design. You mentioned solarcooker.org or whatever it was.
Hmm.
For years, I would get calls. He put because I had the rights.
Sure.
Uh, he put my phone number and contact information on that site with
Sure.
his sketches and
Okay.
some of his earlier pictures. And so that's probably where you saw it way
Okay.
back when.
Sure.
And I didn't know that was even still up.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's and it's growing. There are Solar Cookers International has staff that make sure any news on solar cooking from around the world gets posted, and they maintain as an archive going back to Barbara Kerr and Sherry Cole in the I think 1970s when they had their Sustainable Living Center in Arizona, and they had a through the wall solar oven and promoted it all over the world. So then that's where I fit in, as I'm able to help them keep up with the history because I do keep in touch with people, and I'll have to look yours up and make sure that that's all still current. And if it's not, we'll make sure you're at it if that's okay. I'm assuming that's okay.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. I
Great.
think it'll be good to have the updated information. Mark some more activity, and we've got all the contacts. In fact, I get email all the time from the manufacturer of these reflectors
Hmm.
uh, wanting to know when we're ready to reorder.
Yeah, sure,
But
sure.
anyway, it's turned out to be a pretty good little project. I mentioned everything has multi uses. These are for drinking and eating out of.
Sure.
The lid is a plate,
Yep.
and the pail can be used to wash dishes and
Mhm.
gather water or whatever else.
Yeah, well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you betcha. You think you got it down how to assemble everything?
Oh yes, yeah. In fact, I'll leave this one as you showed me. So when I get around to be able to cook, I just need to uninflate the bag and fill the jar and put it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can use that bag over and over and over again.
Oh
They're
yeah. Oh,
durable. Okay. Thank you very much.
great. Thank you again.
Have a good day.
Bye. You
Bye
too.
now.
Bye.